Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Backwoods Solar YouTube video. In today's YouTube video, we're going to be doing an overview of the Victron Orion series of DC to DC converters and chargers. Let's get into it. First thing here I wanted to mention when it comes to the Orion line of devices is that there are a lot of these devices within the Orion product line, and sometimes it can be very challenging to determine which Orion is proper for your application. So if you have any questions on selecting an Orion or a specific application or project that you may have that you're trying to accomplish, please feel free to give us a call and talk with one of our techs, and we can help you narrow down what specific Orion product is correct for you. When getting started selecting an Orion product for your application, the first thing you want to do is think about what you're trying to accomplish and what your battery voltage and your output voltage that you require or are looking for is. In this case, we can very quickly split our Orion product line into two basic categories. We have DC to DC converters on this side and DC to DC chargers on this side. Just as a side note, most of the DC to DC chargers can be used as a power supply, so they do kind of have the same features as these converters, but also allow for multiple stage or algorithmic charging if you're trying to charge a battery. The next feature to consider when selecting your Orion DC to DC product is whether or not you want your input battery and your output battery to be isolated from each other. So do you want an isolated converter, or in the case of these Orion XS's, a non-isolated converter? That essentially means, are the negatives of the two batteries or the source and the load connected to each other? This is most commonly found in 12-volt automotive or RV applications where the chassis is a common ground, so that saves on having to run a fourth wire if you're using this product in an automotive or mobile or RV application. The next feature to mention is how do we program and control or set the voltages on these devices. You will see that most of these chargers will have smart in their name or indicate Bluetooth connectivity. So using your Victron Connect app, you'll be able to connect into these and see live exactly what they're doing, as well as set very precisely the charging parameters for your very specific battery. I also want to mention on the new Orion XS, as opposed to the old Smart Orion versions, these do have a VE Direct port now in them. So if you do have a servo and you want to bring in data from these Orion devices, you can do that with the new XS's. On the older versions, it just had Bluetooth connectivity. On the DC to DC converters, these are all set via a small potentiometer that's located here on the bottom of the unit. You basically turn this screw to set your output voltage. On all these converters, you'll see right here on the face of them, they will indicate their input voltage range and their output voltage range. So again, be careful to select the product that's correct for your application. DC to DC converters can not only be used to change voltage, so to step up voltage or step down voltage, as in this case here, a 48 to 12 volt or a 48 to 24 volt, but they can also be utilized to stabilize voltage. So in the case of this one here, it's a 48 to 48, so we can feed in a 32 to 70 volts and then get a fixed stable output of 40 to 60 volts. This can be very helpful for things like pumps where we're trying to stabilize the voltage so we don't have fluctuations to the device as battery voltage changes throughout the day or night. All of the Victron Orion DC to DC products have a remote jump or loop of some type. Either it's a simple loop of wire like you see here in this unit, or it'll be a terminal block that will have a loop of wire that'll also be included in the box to plug into this terminal block opening. This allows for remote activation and disabling of the DC to DC converter from any switch. This is a simple continuity signal, so is this loop of wire touching the two ports or is it not? Is it open or closed? And that is a run or not run signal for these Orion DC to DCs. As well, these smart versions all have engine run detection. So if you're using these off of an alternator, they can detect when the engine is running or when the alternator is active. That way they do not deplete your starter battery in these cases. And you can also set some other protections, low voltage charge protections in these devices. Again, this is all customizable through the Victron Connect app. These ones here do have some low voltage protection within range. The range is described here on the covers or in the manuals or spec sheets. However, this is usually too low for most battery types. So it's usually a wise idea with these DC to DC load type devices or converters that we run some type of a smart battery protect or other low voltage disconnect device so we do not bring our batteries below the level where they would remain happy. On the Orion product line, the model number indicates what the product does. So if you're looking for one of these, it's pretty easy to look at the model number to figure out exactly what the unit is doing. So let's use this unit up here as an example. This is the Orion TR, stands for terminal. This is going to be an input voltage of 48, an output voltage of 12, and then it has 20 amps of output power, conversion power, if you will. So 48 volt input, and we get 12 volts, 20 amps on the output. The same thing over here on this one. This again, 48 to 48, so we're working within that 48 volt range, and it can stabilize voltage up to 8 amps, 48 to 48. On the Orion XS line, the model numbers do follow very similarly, although on the Orion XS 1400, this is a bit of a different animal. But again, on the Rhino XS, 12, 12, 50 amps. And then on the Orion XS 1400, this is as well a 50 amp, but this is kind of a unique unit. In particular, what separates the Orion XS unit from the previous generation is obviously you can see here the architecture is different. This unit up here, which was the original DC to DC 1230, has been replaced here, or you have the option of using the Orion XS 1212 50 amp. So you can see there's been a dramatic improvement in efficiencies and size in terms of thermal efficiencies here. And as well over here on the XS 1400, this unit can do step up or step down 50 amps. So this can do 12 to 12, 12 to 24 volts, 24 to 12, and then 24 to 24. So this is a pretty versatile unit here if you don't know exactly what the future may bring, or if you want to charge both 12 volts and 24 volt banks. This is a pretty interesting unit to take a look at. And that about does it for our brief overview of the Orion DC to DC converter and charger line. Again, if you had any other additional questions, feel free to give us a call. We're always here to answer the phone, or leave those comments in the description box below. Other than that, we'll see you on the next one.
Backwoods Solar is America's oldest and most trusted solar retailer with nearly 50 years of experience. Head over to our website, backwoodssolar.com, to get a free copy of our planning guide. While you're there, check out our Learning Center with articles on setup, sizing, tax credits, and so much more helpful information, especially if you're just getting started with solar. There are also links provided in the description.